How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. Today I'm going to talk about investing in crude oil.
This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Are you guys bored like I am, where you just sit around watching movie after movie? Well, you can take this time to learn a new skill on Skillshare. You can come out of this lockdown stronger than ever in finance, investing, or maybe you want to learn a bit more about Bitcoin. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. If you're looking for a recommendation, check out the Core 4 of Personal Finance from Brainy Money and Sun Han. If you guys are uncertain about what's coming next, you never know how long this is going to last. Applying yourself to learn a new skill, it's a great way to pass this time. If you guys are interested in becoming a member on Skillshare, check out the link down in the video description below where the first 1,000 people to click on it will get 2 free months of Skillshare Premium.
Before I begin, let me remind you guys that today I'm going to talk about some assets, some ETFs. ETFs can go up or down in value. This video is not intended as investing advice. You need to do your own research to do your own investing, or perhaps contact your financial advisor. I personally am not a financial advisor. I do not have a license to exercise my abilities or to consult anybody. The more I look into it, the more complex it is. And this is my admission that the more you find out about it, the more there is to know. For example, there's many producers in the world. Some countries like to form a pact with each other. There are different kinds of crude oil, such as Brent and WTI crude. A certain kind of crude oil may smell sweeter and some smell more sour in terms of there's more sulfur content in it. I actually never even seen a pile of crude oil in front of me before. I've never visited an oil rig. So all of this is just basically kind of like couch investing. I am investing at home. I'm finding out a whole bunch of information about it. And this is not to say that you cannot invest in something just because you've never seen it before. And my whole thesis with this is that you do not need to know every gritty little detail about this. Certain countries may have a certain price they need to produce at in order to at least break even. Sometimes there's much higher price of shale oil, and you might actually wonder what shale oil actually is. This has the whole thing to do with fracking, where in the United States we did not used to be a huge oil producer until this new technology came around where they inject this fluid inside the ground. They go and pressurize it and they break up the rocks underneath, and then they somehow are able to snake in all these pipes and then extract oil from these fractured rock. They're able to extract oil when you don't exactly have a little oil deposit. Rather, instead, all the oil is just deposited deep underneath the Earth's surface. Now, we have a lot of this in the United States, and it actually costs a lot more than over in Saudi Arabia in order to extract each barrel of oil. There's a lot of details here, but the way I am investing in oil is just to realize that oil is not ending now and that there's a certain running price, and if it drops way below this, then I thought it's time to buy, just as long as oil is not going away permanently. If there is 5 to 10 years runway, I can probably wait around until it comes back and revert back to the mean. So this is kind of just me investing. Whenever things are way off of the mean, when the oil price is way below the mean, then I'm like, okay, like I can just buy in thinking that eventually it's going to come back. So this is a way for me to make money in a relatively safe manner as long as oil comes back. This also hinges on whatever you buy into, that those companies don't go bankrupt. I talked about IXC before, and basically these are all the oil producers. You got BP, you got ExxonMobil, you got Chevron, and there's a whole bunch of other gasoline producers in other countries like the UK. And these are the components of IXC, and certainly some of these companies could definitely go bankrupt. So if the oil price stays low for way too long and it bankrupts some of those companies, definitely IXC would permanently drop down a little bit. Right now it's around $18.50, and if you ask me, I don't really know if it's gonna come up in the next week or two. Just yesterday, between Saudi Arabia, Russia, Mexico, and the United States, they all agreed on a total output cut of around 9.7 million barrels per day. Now, I can't even think of how big this is. 9.7 million? That's a lot of barrels. You know how big a barrel is? I think it's like this big can that's about this high. And what is crude oil, right? This is this oil stuff, this black gold that comes out of the floor. I just want to go over some of the things that this barrel of crude oil makes. This is important because once you understand what is made from this, then you can go, yeah, of course, the world needs this stuff. And if there's demand, well, the prices are going to keep up higher. So here it goes. 18% of a barrel of crude oil, now it depends if it's this Brent crude oil or WTI, because different mixtures of different crude oil have different compositions. So just kind of take this, as an approximation. 18% of this barrel of crude oil mix things such as waxes, lubricants, plastics, right? A lot of things are made out of plastic. I can take this tablet over here, right? This back cover is made out of plastic. Toothbrushes, everything is plastic around here. These fibers are probably made out of plastic. This remote control has plastic on it. You have plastic-based fabric as well. This blanket over here, 100% polyester. So this is made from crude oil. Polyester is made from crude oil. You think this fluffy thing came from that black stuff, right? And then after you get past all of this, 40% of it is gasoline. So yeah, a majority of a barrel of crude oil is gasoline. 10% of it is jet fuel. 23% of it is diesel. 4% is butane and propane. 3% is this really heavy stuff, this tar that eventually gets mixed with this rock-like material that people dig out of the ground, and this becomes your asphalt. Now, if you look at this is like a lot of useful stuff. If this infection stuff goes away, we're still gonna use a whole bunch of jet fuel. People need to drive around. This is the core of transportation. Now, core of transportation, right? That's the getcha right here. Because there's this whole theory about electric vehicles becoming more and more important and displacing all these gasoline car sales. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but we want to try and figure out if oil price is going to go up or down in the future. Now, a long time ago when Saudi Arabia, Russia, they're producing this oil, none of this shale stuff in the United States existed back then. And people were thinking that they're gonna run out of oil, they cannot find any more, it's gonna go lower and lower, so their production is actually go down. So then the price of oil goes up to $100 per barrel. Now this did happen for a little while. However, what no one really expected happening is innovation of this shale boom. Suddenly the United States is making all this oil, just kind of took it out of nowhere, right? Previously, the oil was not extractable, and then with this new technology, we're able to extract it. All of a sudden, the whole entire world produces a lot more oil now. So then we have overproduction, and then the price of oil eventually dropped more and more. Now, another thing that might have came in, and probably people did not expect exactly when it comes in, which is EV sales going higher and higher. The thesis with EV sales is that eventually, the entire world is going to use more and more EVs. People are just growing tired of gasoline. I personally own an EV, and I realize how good it is when you don't have to go to the gas pump anymore, when you don't have to breathe the fumes coming out of your car every time you start it. So the idea here is that the gasoline demand will plummet because there's more and more EVs out there. The oil demand goes down, therefore the price goes down. Now, instead of all this, what just happened is there is this infection going on. Suddenly everything is locked down, people can't go out, people aren't driving everywhere. When you look out in the streets, you see all these photos of freeways and highways and there's no cars on it whatsoever. And the entire world is going through this right now, dropping demand significantly for gasoline. Now, as long as this infection lingers, and to me this is going to linger unless we suddenly find a vaccine very, very quickly, but this is not gonna be very fast. And if this does linger, it means gasoline demand dropped significantly. And in order to have the gas price stable, we have to minimize the production to meet the demand, because if we have too much production, then the price is going to go down. So the global supply has to adjust accordingly to not produce just as much oil as people are not using. Now, of course, if we get some sort of therapeutic, something that can heal them, or maybe a vaccine so that it can prevent you getting it at all, if something like that appears and suddenly we can restart the economy, then boom, overnight, we're gonna get significant increase in demand, and all of a sudden the price of oil is gonna come up, and in turn IXC, which holds a lot of companies that produces oil, is gonna come up as well. When the travel restrictions are lifted, people are gonna need jet fuel, they're gonna fly around, we're gonna be riding in cruises again. And with all of these suddenly going at the same time, demand is just suddenly gonna skyrocket. But most likely what's gonna happen is that they're gonna do a phase roll-in of people being less and less restricted. So most cities and states are just allowing people to get back to normal in a gradual way. We have to figure out if EV sales is eventually gonna hurt demand enough to put a dent in oil demand. Now this is a valid concern, but I don't think it's a concern just yet. I feel like it's going to be a huge thing probably in the next few years when EV sales are up a lot more. But judging from the current sales, it's only maybe about 2% of all cars in the United States are actually electric vehicles. The sales has gone up a lot, and I think this is gonna go up exponentially. So next year, we might be like 4% of total car sales might be EVs, and then the year after that, it might be 8%. So this is a real problem for people that are holding on to oil energy stocks. I think you probably should not get into it. Probably in 2 years or so, this might be a huge mistake. Right now, I also think it's a danger, but EV sales did not hinder a significant portion of oil demand just yet, but it's coming. In the meantime, investing in oil stocks is probably like playing with a ticking time bomb. You are hoping that it would go up, right? But once this EV stuff gains traction, it's just gonna plummet down and you probably will never see it back the same way it is as before. Now, a long time ago, over in 2016, when the price dropped a lot to about $2 a gallon, that's when I actually purchased into IXC. So I purchased this ETF fund before and then I sold it for a profit before. When it went down to $2 a gallon over in California, I just thought, wow, I really want to buy gasoline right now. I want to buy like 1,000 gallon, 5,000 gallon and store it somewhere, but I can't do that. So what I ended up buying is IXC, thinking that I can sort of hedge my buying gasoline without actually buying crude oil or a bunch of gasoline and I need to store it somewhere. So I bought into the companies and I waited until the gasoline came back up to like $4 a gallon. I'm like, yippee, you know, and then I sold it. And then I just kind of used that and pretended I bought gasoline instead at a really low price. I bring this up because back then in 2016, I thought that was the last time I was gonna invest in crude oil. I thought it was getting a little dangerous already, but because of the recent downturn, because of this infection thing, it really plummeted the oil price along with the price war and stuff. So I thought, well, you know, when it goes down this low, that's what attracted me into buying into it again. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's just some of my musings, just thinking about the things that you should be thinking about if you're investing into this stock. The same goes with any particular stock. If you're not investing in an ETF like this one, if you're investing in BP, Exxon, XOM, or Chevron, or any of those oil companies or oil producing companies or anything related to it that uses a significant amount of crude oil, this is probably just something that you should really know. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this brief overview of it. If you guys want to make your own decisions and trade your own stocks, check out my Webull affiliate link down in the video description below, where you can get a free stock if you just sign up, and you get another free stock if you deposit more than $100. Don't forget to give me a like on this video, comment down below, let me know if you are investing in crude oil or in this particular ticker symbol. And as always, don't forget to push that subscribe button and ring that bell icon. Thanks for watching.